All right, we're gonna do a couple little product reviews here, and I ordered from Amazon. I wanted to get a solar oven of some form. I didn't want to do one of the super big ones, or I didn't want to do one of the ones that is, I didn't need one that was perfect for absolutely every day. I wanted something that when I want to cook like baked beans, I'm in a hot sun all day, I can do something like that. And so what I end up doing is for 50 bucks on Amazon, you can get one of these ones, which are the bag solar ovens. And we're gonna see how well it works. Now with the bag solar ovens, the big popular one is called the Sunflare. And this was the cheap knockoff of it. Simply Amazon doesn't sell Sunflares, and I just need to get stuff from Amazon for pickup locations, although these, I couldn't ship these to pickup locations. They are pretty big. So this guy here, we're just going to open it up, and that's just the wrapper, the Amazon wrapper. Now this guy has a nice little bag to come with it here, and then open up the bag, and this is where our solar oven is at. So this guy here is one of the simple ones that folds really flat. That's why I wanted this one. Solar oven's not something that I needed for everyday use. I just need something to help out. The big challenge I'm sensing with it right now is it's so light and big, and it's windy out. So that might cause some problems. I might need to grab some rocks or find a way to pin it down in some way, shape, or form. Let's see, there's a flap there. I don't know, maybe I can do something with those. Now, what some people were saying on the reviews is that the plastic on these is a little bit thinner than the Sunflare ones, and so it may not hold temperature as well. But today's a good day to test it because it's winter in Pennsylvania, and that means that right now it is about 36 degrees outside, just above freezing, but it's a rare sunny day in Pennsylvania. So I'm just gonna zip this guy closed, and I'm gonna let it out in the sun, and we're gonna go in and grab a thermometer so I can see how this guy is going to work. So I'm just gonna point it towards some good sun, and I think I'm just gonna set it beside the wheel well over here. That should keep it good and set. And in just the 2 minutes I've set it up, it already was a little warmer in there than it was out here. So we'll see how that does in a few minutes. All right, so it has been roughly 5 minutes. The temperature gauge tells me it's at 170 in there. So I got a black bowl here. Of course, it's a solar oven, so using black would be best. And I'm going to try and cook up this Progresso beef pot roast with country vegetables. Never tried these. A friend of mine said they're pretty good. I tend to like making my own foods, but we'll see how survival food works. Especially being a little polar solar oven that will fit nicely. Let's go ahead and pull this guy into there. Got our bowl of soup there. And I'm going to put some plastic wrap cover over it. I don't have any other type of lid or anything for this bowl. So I could do aluminum or I could do plastic. I figured plastic would possibly bring in more heat than aluminum would reflect it out. Plastic should bring in a little bit more. So let's go ahead and see how this guy works. It's still windy out, which is kind of annoying. Now, being as windy as it is, I can't get this plastic wrap working right. Actually this has not moved, so hopefully we are good. If we get a massive wind gust, it might do something, but we'll see what happens here. So it is like 1:32 is when we're putting this in. And we will see how well it cooks. I'm going to give it about an hour and I'm going to test it. That way I can take care of a bunch of stuff first. So as soon as I put the bowl in, I noticed that the temperature here falls to like 120. And so I slid the bowl all the way back, thinking that that might have actually interfered. But now I actually reached in to slide the bowl all the way up. The bowl is actually almost too hot to touch. So it's interesting that the bowl is too hot to touch, but the oven itself seems a little cool. I need to stop the phone here to run this, but we've been running now it is 2:14. So we have been running for 45 minutes. Bowl is very hot. Oven itself is still only holding about 120, but I guess utilizing the black dish in there as well is going to hold in some of the heat. So we'll probably measure the soup here in about an hour or so. The soup has been in here for almost 2 hours. We started at 1:30. It is now 3:20. And what we notice in here, we are getting a little bit of condensation buildup. So that tells us that the soup is warming up. It is venting out some steam there. Now, it's hard to see where the thermometer is. I stuck my head in there to figure out where it's at. And the thermometer inside the soup is still only reporting 130. Now, that's a little bit concerning in that 130 is not going to be enough to cook something, although warming something up. Now, again, it's still 30 degrees out here, like 36, 37. It has not gotten any warmer. The sun is moving in the sky. It has had bright sun the whole time. There has not been any clouds or anything like that. Now, a couple factors that I'm thinking of here. One of those is that the plastic wrap has kind of got in and sits on top of the soup. That will probably insulate it a little bit. But again, remember it was like, was it 160 or 180 pretty quickly before we put the soup in there. And then as soon as we put it in there, the temperature dropped to 120 and it stayed there. So this guy here is not insulated enough to use it in these temperatures. I am going to guess, though, if I were in a desert at 60 degrees, this would be way hotter and I could easily cook something in here. As for now, it's warming the soup up. And since it is a pre-cooked soup, that's probably fine. And at 140, it's probably pretty good. I'm going to stick my hand in here and see if I can touch it again. Because the bowl, remember, was really hot when we touched it last time. It is still warm inside the oven, so it's not like it's cold in there. It is nice and comfortable. I should get one of these guys if I needed to like sit out there. The bottom of the thermometer is actually pretty warm to the touch, and it's it's about 135 it looks like. So let's go ahead and just stir the soup around, kind of see what's going on here. So overall, my take, this solar oven's not going to be good if you're in cold environments. My theory is if we were in a lot warmer environments, it would do really good. And so this is one that, probably don't use it for the cold environments. But it does appear to be working. It's pulling things in. And overall, the size and the shape, if you're hanging around in the hot deserts where it's not 36 degrees, it's probably going to work really well for you. So I can't wait until I get back out there to the warm deserts, or even up here in the north in the summertime when it's hot, and run it and see if I can actually cook something in it. As of right now, these temperatures, warming up seems to be my limit. But warming up is good enough. But overall, it doesn't seem to be doing the job. I'm going to go ahead and make some small adjustments to the soup container in here, and I'm not done with this. We have some other things I can try. One of the things I can try is you can get black dishes with sealable plastic lids, just really cheap. I'm going to swing by the store and pick some of those up. I'm going to try cooking this again on the next sunny, cold day we get up here and see if that makes a difference. Because I think that the way that it's down here, you can kind of see that the plastic wrap is falling into the top of the soup. That's kind of part of the problem, I think. And that this is not getting quite as hot, presumably because the soup dish is in the center. So I tried to move it up to see if that increases the temperature, try to move it back. Maybe we'll try the corners, whatever else. But we'll see what happens. All right, so after about 3 hours, actually almost 3 hours on the dot, we were at 1:30 when we started. It's now 4:24. The soup is up to 145. It's warm enough for a soup, something that is pre-cooked. Not something hot enough to cook chicken. Again, I would like to test this out, with a black container with a sealable lid so the plastic doesn't fall down into the dish. I think that that's really going to help. and B, on a warmer day. So hopefully I can get a container and test it again in sunshine on another cold day, see how that does. Because a lot of these will come with a black silicone dish with a lid, which does help out. This is the cheap model, so it doesn't. But as far as prepared food, that's good enough. I'm going to go ahead and enjoy my soup now. And overall, I think this was probably a good deal for, I think I paid $50 for it. I can't remember exactly what I paid for this thing. I was like $50 or $60 or something like that. But overall it seems pretty good, so I'm gonna let it air out a little bit. I'm gonna take it inside because it's getting windy again. So we're gonna take the soup out, then I'm gonna take this guy inside and let it air out a little bit, and then I'm gonna wipe off the inner condensation there and then stow it up, and we'll look at getting one of those black containers next time I head to town. All right, so we are here to do yet another test with the solar oven. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to run it today because originally the forecast had it starting to be cloudy around 2. It's about, it's close to about 5 now. And we've had some pretty consistent sun. The clouds have just now started to roll in. This has dropped a little bit of temperature, but the thermometer in here is still saying it's at 140. I was temping this throughout the day, and it was actually getting up into the 160s, 170s for long periods of time. So I actually cooked chicken in here instead of just heating it up. I wasn't sure I'd be able to do that, but it appears as though I did. Now, what I did since the start of this video is I end up getting some of these dishes that are plastic, hard plastic on the bottom, and they have snap tight lids. This is actually very, very hot. I'm having a very hard time holding it. So this did actually work pretty well. So let me go ahead and temp what it feels like right now. So we've crossed 160. Now remember, chicken to cook it should be at 165 for over 10 minutes. Now we're at about 162, 163 right here. I know for a fact it was over 165 for a long period of time. And so I'm confident enough in eating this that the chicken was thoroughly cooked. Now I was going to do a chicken, rice, and cheese, but one of the things I did, this is not as much the oven but the recipe, basically I just put some dried rice in here and put in some water. And when it became obvious to me it was going to get hot enough, I went ahead and diced up some chicken. And usually what I'll do is I'll take this type of recipe and then mix in some cheese and basically have like a cheesy rice. And if I have broccoli, I'll mix that in. But the cooking aspect, it doesn't evaporate water as much as it does in like cooking it on a burner. And so I end up making more like a soup type consistency. So when I realized it was going to be more of a soup, I went ahead and added some carrots and onion and garlic, and I basically made a chicken rice soup instead of just some chicken rice with vegetables and cheese and stuff. So we're not adding cheese to this, but it looks like it's pretty good. The rice looks as though it cooked. It could probably stand to be in there for a little bit longer, so I have a few options. I could actually go in and put it in my food warmer, or I'll just eat it as it is, with the rice being a little bit harder. Now, if I had actually put this in here a lot earlier in the day, and I would have, if I thought I was going to get sun for longer than I did. I mean, this has only been in here like 3 hours maybe. I could have easily run this for 6 hours. It would have probably cooked the rice up even better, and so that's good. Now, as far as the solar oven itself, how does it work? It actually works pretty good. The big downside is any amount of cloud cover is going to completely render it useless. This is not something like a solar panel that still works pretty well under cloud cover. Any amount of cloud, it kind of becomes worthless. Secondly, this particular one, very susceptible to the wind. So if you're somewhere where there's a lot of wind, it does blow around a little bit. I'm thinking about ways to stabilize it down. Maybe I'll do some big rocks wrapped in either aluminum foil or silver paint, or maybe even black paint. That'd be good. That would actually pull in the heat and keep it hotter longer. That'd be a fun test. See if under similar conditions I could make it stay warmer or colder with black painted rocks or something. Or finding some way to mount it down. So that's my biggest concern, is that the wind. Obviously, it's not as efficient as the, I think the Sun Solar brand, which concentrate more heat, but this guy is way lighter, way more portable, and way less susceptible to breaking because it doesn't have a bunch of glass on it. Overall, being as I spent about 40 bucks on this, I think it's overall a really good value. It's got some rice down my throat. It did allow me to cook some chicken and rice, so I feel pretty confident I could bake some cookies in here. I could probably bake baked beans in here if I know in advance that it's going to be a warm, sunny day, like in the desert, like I usually would be, rather than in Pennsylvania, where this is the first time I've seen the sun in a month. So I will probably use this a whole lot more when I get out of Pennsylvania, but for now, even here, yeah, it works on the occasional days that we get good full sun cover. So overall, I think it's pretty good option. I'll go ahead and have a link down there in the description so you can see what I bought and consider if you want to pick it up yourself. Not the perfect solution, but it does work, and it's super light and super portable. So thanks for watching, everybody, and you can subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so, and we will see you a little bit further down the road.